What Hamas has done not only to Israel, but by continuing to fight, continuing to attack, it has invited this level of apocalyptic destruction. And I think one of the questions now is, where do we go from here?
Was Hamas's leader Yahya Sinwar hiding beneath Khan Yunis? Israeli soldiers are doing everything possible and searching every trail and every hideout to bring the hostages home. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Inside the Epicenter with Joel Rosenberg, a podcast of the Joshua Fund, a ministry dedicated to blessing Israel and her neighbors in the name of Jesus. I'm Carl Muller, Executive Director of the Joshua Fund, and today we present Joel's visit to the underground tunnels in Khan Yunis, Gaza, to look at the Hamas from a different perspective, underground.
We're going into a terror tunnel where hostages, remnants or evidences of at least 3 hostages were there. Also, Hamas commanders hid in here. And then the general told us their headquarters were turned into cages to keep hostages. Let's go in. As we continue forward, you look at the enormous amount of construction effort that was made to build these tunnels so that terrorists could escape and pop up anywhere. So now we're in a bathroom facility that's connected to that caged facility. But when you look at this bathroom and the tile work, this wasn't done for hostages. This was done for senior Hamas commanders, and the cages were added later. Good evening and welcome to the Rosenberg Report. We're on the border of Gaza tonight. We're heading in with an Israeli military unit into Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis is the biggest city in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. It's where the most intense fighting has happened in Gaza over the last 2 months. This is where we believe, the IDF believes, that Yahya Sinwar, the commander of Hamas in Gaza, is hiding in tunnels underneath Khan Yunis. We're going to go there. We're going to show you, we're going to take you inside Gaza tonight. But first, we're going inside an armored personnel carrier to take an hour-and-a-half drive into the heart of the battle. All right, we're inside the APC. We're taking about an hour-and-a-half, hour and 15-minute drive. This is going to be bumpy, and it's going to be pretty intense as we go in. This is my first time ever into Gaza, not only since this war began. I've never thought as a Jewish person named Joel Rosenberg I should ever be in Gaza. I know Christian ministry leaders who've gone in, pastors and others, prior to Hamas taking control and even afterwards. But this is going to be a pretty intense trip. I'm glad you're along for the ride. I'm with my colleague, Chris Mitchell from Christian Broadcasting Network, CBN, and we'll keep you posted as we go. Israeli officials say they've now captured, killed, or severely wounded upwards of 75% of the Hamas terrorist army in Gaza. They believe victory is getting close, but it's been a brutal battle every step of the way. All right, we've just gotten out of the armored personnel carrier. We are in Khan Yunis. We are looking at devastation that I can only describe as apocalyptic. If you just look around, there are a few buildings still standing, but look at this building right behind you, or the camera, but right behind me now. And we've seen this all the way through. And again, if you're just looking at the destruction, it is almost complete. I wouldn't, obviously there are buildings standing. What Hamas has done not only to Israel, but by continuing to fight, continuing to attack, it has invited this level of apocalyptic destruction. And I think one of the questions now is, where do we go from here? General Dan Goldfuss is responsible for defeating Hamas in Khan Yunis.
We entered Khan Yunis. As you emerged out of the armored vehicles, you can see we're in a neighborhood just around us. What you can see in front of you over here is one of many tunnels that are underground in each and every one of these neighborhoods. What you can see here is actually that in an ordinary neighborhood, there's a shaft going down this tunnel that we're going to go into. It's going to go on and on and on. And in this tunnel over here, the kidnapped civilians, women, children, elderly people, taken in from the 7th of October. I remind you, by the 7th of October, Israel was under attack. I failed to defend my people. As a general, we were under attack by a savage, unhuman organization or entity such as Hamas. We entered Israel, attacked the villages, raped, burned, murdered, slaughtered civilians. Some of them were taken in as trophies, just as trophies, taken into these tunnels, into this tunnel, and such as these tunnels, this ordinary neighborhood is a shaft in every place you can find. There's a shaft in the kindergarten, there's a shaft in the school, there's a shaft in the mosques, there's a shaft in the supermarket. Wherever you go, there's a shaft going get down into the underground tunnels and underground world of this unhumane entity of Hamas.
We're ready to go. We're going into a terror tunnel where hostages, remnants or evidences of at least 3 hostages were there. Also, Hamas commanders hid in here. And the general told us their headquarters were turned into cages to keep hostages. Let's go in. You can still hear artillery fighting is going on, machine gun fire all throughout this area. This is an extensive Hamas not just tunnel, but like I said, command center. And we're following Brigadier General Dan Golfus deep inside Khan Yunis. Okay, watch your step and keep going. Okay. You can see here that this was entirely wired with not just electricity, but also communications cables. It's humid in here, and making a turn, narrow and short. As we continue forward, you look at the enormous amount of construction effort that was made to build these tunnels so that terrorists could escape and pop up anywhere to attack Israelis as we came in here, and of course control the civilian population.
Okay. All right, what you can see here is the extension of the guard compound, the living room, the kitchen that they have over here. None of this is ours, it's all the Hamas guards in this compound over here. So this is the guard compound. We're going on now to the next compound. We will see the cages, and we'll see how it's built. But again, look at the tiles, electricity, time, effort, money that was put in to build this. We're now at the moment approximately 15 meters underground. We're going deeper and deeper.
How many miles of tunnels in Khan Yunis?
Many miles. But I think that the amount of underground tunnels that there are is not of importance. What is important is the different usage of the tunnels in the different areas. So you have the tactical tunnels, which are used by the forces, the Hamas terrorists at the fighting force at the front. And then you have these strategic tunnels at the back. So these strategic tunnels have an end.
This is a strategic tunnel?
For sure. Yeah. You can see, just look how the ceiling goes high. And this is still, remember the ceiling. Look at the next compound at the ceiling and have the magnitude of how big it is.
Our verse of the day today is found in Psalms 121, verses 4 and 5. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. And our prayer requests today are: number 1, pray that God will reveal and bring to naught all evil plots against Israel. And second, pray that God will comfort Israel and heal the hearts of those affected by the Hamas attacks.
Is everybody with us? Okay, perfect. So we've just entered the main compound over here. As you saw, We went on and on and on and on, curving around, going all the way down. We're approximately about 25 meters underground at the moment. You can see, like I said, you see the ceiling go up, the underground tunnel bigger and bigger. I want to take you through now. I want to take you through the different compounds within this one big compound. We went through the guards. Now we're entering the main compound. So please come with me into the kitchen.
What's interesting about this kitchen is there's no way that this was designed for Israeli hostages, for kidnapped Israelis. You see the tile work. This is designed to make it feel at home for Hamas leaders as they live underground. And you can see how quickly Hamas leaders must have left as the IDF came in, because there's still food and drink and dishes all here. It shows just how quickly the IDF moved in and how quickly Hamas leaders had to flee.
We go in here. Please come in here. In this way. Look at the magnitude of this compound over here. This is a bedroom. It's a bedroom. Behind this compound, this bedroom over here. You see the tiles, the electricity, the lights.
This is a chamber where senior Hamas leaders live. By the design, by the tile work, by the bed frames that you should see that are not just, rugs on the floor or mattresses. This is actually has bed frames. This means this was a higher standard of living, meaning senior Hamas leaders were here. The general told us he believes Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, very likely was staying here. But it is extraordinary for me, I will just tell you, as an Israeli, as an American, as an evangelical, to actually be not only in a Hamas terror tunnel, but in the lair of Yahya Sinwar and the Hamas leadership.
If people like Sinwar would have spent time here.
I do.
What makes you say that?
I just understand how the underground compounds today, I understand how the underground compounds are spread out. And like I said to you, when you asked me, are we going to get them? And I said, we'll get them. We understand better and better how the underground compound is. We're gaining ground faster and faster, more efficient by maneuvering under and upper ground. And we're gaining. And we're taking these compounds every day. But you have to understand, time is a factor. And the underground maneuver isn't as fast as the overground maneuver. And things are different. And sometimes you go faster underground, sometimes you go faster overground, but you're trying to make it simultaneously and connected. That's why it's taking time. Not only because of that, but to flush out the enemy from the time and effort that they've spent building here, years and years and years. This is not a 2-year project. This is years of building. This is years of planning. So if anybody has a question, how long do I think the 7th of October was planned? For many years. The intentions were there. For many years, the plans were in progress. For many years, they planned how to attack women and children in the villages. That's what they tried to do. So in the endless maze of the underground in Khan Yunis, you can see the different munition that we encountered in these underground tunnels. You can see grenades. This is a bomb. It's called we call it a sacrifice bomb. This is a bomb that they run and they stick on the tank or the armored vehicle, and will try to blow up the tank with the armored vehicle. That one over there is the Yasin 105. That is the RPG, modified RPG, which is a more explosive RPG, which they're firing at our tanks. I think the volume of the weapon, maybe that was a operational surprise. The amount of weapons which you find in every house, every building you move into, and you find amounts of weapons, which that was maybe an operational surprise. Not a basic surprise, because when you go into war, you're ready to be attacked. But the amount that we found, which they left behind, running away.
Just to be clear, you mean inside these tunnels, of course you expect weapons, but in each and every single house, you didn't expect that amount.
In the tunnels and in the houses. You'd expect that I don't know, maybe in a kindergarten, you wouldn't find weapons. So you go in a kindergarten, you find, dozens of RPG. And then you go into a school. You go into a UN school and you find dozens of mortars and IEDs. And it's just everywhere. And you want to go into a mosque and you want to say, hey, the mosque is out of the game. But it's not. There's shafts going down from the mosque, down underground, and in the mosque you find mortars, RPGs, IEDs, all kinds of different other grenades and other weaponized or weaponry that were there. And you say, there's just in every corner.
The entire Gaza Strip was weaponized.
It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. So yes, that was an operational surprise. The amount, the magnitude of how many weapons at every corner.
What have you learned about Yahya Sinwar over the last 4 months, and can you give us a profile of who this man is?
All I can say about Yahya Sinwar is that he's a coward. And he's dug himself in underground. And he's on the go, trying to save his own skin. So all I can say is I think he's a coward. He's hiding underground, hiding and using the civilians to protect him.
How would you describe how difficult militarily this is to fight above ground and below the ground? Has this ever been done?
This has never been done as far as I know in the history of the world, of the military of the world. It's the first time. We are living it day in, day out, learning day in, day out, making mistakes, moving back, moving again, synchronizing between over, top, down, under, trying to maneuver, trying to have an effect on each other, moving quickly underground, slowing down, flanking, underground and overground, and it's all connected with each other. It's complex, it's a challenge, but as the IDF has always done, and the 98th Division has always done, we meet that challenge. We put our minds together to meet that challenge. And the challenge is ongoing, and our mission is to dismantle the Hamas, bring back our kidnapped, and bring security to the state of Israel.
Did you specifically your forces have to fight into this tunnel, or by the time you got here, had Hamas fled?
We fought in the tunnels, not only one tunnel, in the tunnels, we fought in the tunnels, we fought to take ground underground, and that's part of what we did, and that's part of the difficulty.
We're here inside one of the actual caged areas where at least 12 Israeli hostages were held. 3 were released, but now they've been moved to some other place, and the hunt continues.
So, if anybody in the world needs evidence for the horrific actions that the terror entity Hamas has done, you're in it. You're in this evidence.
Can you describe what's above us right now?
Above us is 25 meters of ground, gravel, houses. We've been walking and walking and walking and walking. We've changed the neighborhood. We're in a different neighborhood that we entered. You'll have the ability to go back. I would say somewhat doubtful privilege of walking back through the tunnels all the way out to emerge to the upper world. And this is where the hostages were held.
How many hostages were held in this cell?
So at least 12 hostages were held here. At least 12.
So we only identified the 3 that were held in here? That's why we're saying 3 names?
I'm saying 3 were released from here.
I see.
Okay? I'm not giving any other names. Do you understand why? Yes.
Could you describe, to the benefit of people who are not here, what does it feel like to stand in this room?
I think I should take a picture of you all and send it out because you're all sweating and breathing heavily in the heavily humid and hot environment that we're in. So this humid and hot environment that we're in is the same environment that the kidnapped civilians, women and children were held inside in this compound. We'll go into the compound, okay? You can see if you look at the bars over here, You can see this is relatively new bars, but they thought of everything, right? Why do I say it's new? I don't know, but I think it evolved throughout the maneuver, throughout the war. It has changed. And I think that we had taken ground and they had to flee to another area. Maybe during the ceasefire. So if anybody has a doubt about taking advantage of the ceasefire for moving the kidnapped from one place to another, creating new horrific compounds underground and cages underground, you can see it over here. So let's go through here. We'll go in here to the back tunnel. So if you're held in here and you need to go to the toilet.
So now we're in a bathroom facility that's connected to that caged facility. But when you look at this bathroom and the tile work, this wasn't done for hostages. This was done for senior Hamas commanders, and the cages were added later. And it's just, it's terrifying to think with this heat and this humidity, no way to get out, and maybe not even hope. That's the question. Are these hostages kidnapped? Do they have hope of being released? Right now, we're well over 120 days, and they're still being held somewhere in these tunnels.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode, giving us a clear update about what has taken place in the tunnels underneath Gaza. If you found this podcast really valuable, please get in touch with us. Did you know that over 9.5 million people have listened to this podcast since we've started in one format or another? Please let us know who you are. Are you someone who's searching for Jesus? You can find him here. Do you want to talk about something else on this show, or do you have a question for Joel? Send any comments you may have to podcast@joshuafund.net. Your feedback is incredibly valuable as we develop this podcast. And as always, you can check out our show notes for anything you heard on this podcast that you'd like more information on. For Joel Rosenberg and the Joshua Fund ministry team, I'm Carl Muller. Thanks for listening to this episode of Inside the Epicenter with Joel Rosenberg.
I'm Joel Rosenberg. On your left, you'll find some videos we've chosen specifically for you. We look forward to partnering with you to bless Israel and her neighbors in the name of Jesus.